What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of Just the Radio. This is the first guest that invited themselves, which is cool, and I'm glad you did, bro. And yeah, Justin, do you want to introduce yourself?
So obviously my name's Justin. I just thought, to speak about sort of the journey I've been on for the last 13 years. I think it's a bit something that's prevalent today, and you go through so many ups and downs along the way. So it's great to be here. So you've had some amazing guests on here, so it's just awesome to be here. So thank you for having me.
Of course, bro. Thanks so much for coming through. So how long has your journey been? Like 10, 11 years?
Yeah, it's it's going back. I think it first started when I'm 31 now, and it started when I was 17 years old. You sort of your matric year, you get out of high school, and it started there. I think we'll pick up on probably two numbers, but I think the first number for me was 138, because that's the heaviest I ever weighed. And I think it started there, and it's been I think you learn things about yourself all the time. So it's been an amazing journey, and hopefully I know it's going to continue for a long time to come. So it has been about 12, 13 years.
138. That was you at 17.
At 17, it was my final matric year, and I remember it quite vividly, in the sense that like all these modern day scales, you get like the digits. I had that old school scale, and when it goes to like 120 and you've got that gap of 20 at the end, I was peaking at the end of that, so I knew about 138 kilograms was my max.
And was this just because of unhealthy eating, or what was the reason because of this?
It stemmed from early childhood. I was always overweight, and then going into high school, it sort of just carried on. And I think I was just clueless in terms of what needed to be done in order to look a certain way. And it was just a spiral effect. It wasn't even something that it wasn't even like something that was top of mind. It was just how I ate. It wasn't like when I looked at a pizza, it was like, well, you're eating something bad. It was literally, that's what I felt comfortable, and I just carried on the way it was.
And going back to you saying, like, obviously you were maybe a bit overweight when you were younger, do you feel it was maybe your parents giving you certain foods, or was also just, it was just convenient and just easy? Or how do you, because obviously there's a whole, school of thought where people like, obviously obviously up until a certain age, but let's say if you're below, I'll say 10 years old, and you're super overweight, it's definitely the parents' fault. Whereas you, obviously, it was, you were 17 and everything, then you can make your own decisions. But, going back to, let's say, up until you're 10 years old, I don't know how you feel about, obviously, let's take away hormone issues and all that kind of stuff. But for kids that, are slightly overweight, they don't pay for their own food. They don't make their own food. Obviously, the parents are giving them the food. Yeah. How do you feel about, kids that maybe obviously don't make that conscious decision and can't because, they're not the breadwinners?
I think I have to agree with you. I think before 10 years old, it's very difficult in terms of the decisions you make. You're a kid, so, you're going to be a kid. But after that, I think, me personally, I took full responsibility for that. I look back and, I think from 11, 12 years old, the kids these days are pretty clued up as to what's going on. So in terms of eating healthy and stuff like that, I was allowed to be a kid. But the years after that, I think you take ownership, and I took full responsibility for putting myself in the situation that I did get in. It's just one of those things where you become, eventually you sort of catch a wake up, and you're like, okay, well, you let yourself go to a certain extent. Well, now it's time to make a change. Yeah. And that took a long, hard think, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, cheapers, you've got to do something, and you've got to do it now, else, there will be, it sounds like a bit like over-exaggerated, but there will be no return, because if you let yourself go to a certain extent, it's just to try and make your way, or try and lose 70 kilograms, 80 kilograms. Yeah. it's not easy.
And especially because, I mean, there's quotes and sayings and everything that says, like, it took you 10 years to put on this weight. You can't expect to lose it in like 10 weeks.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think people close to me will realize, is that, you know, I did that. I mean, initially losing all the weights, I did it within a space of 12 to 15 months. And if you look at that time frame, it's actually quite short. Yeah. To lose, I mean, initially I lost 43 kilograms, and then I got to a mindset of 95. But I think people will relate to this, is that when you get into a mindset of losing weight, all you want to do is carry on losing weight. And so, yeah, it was tricky. I mean, I eventually did lose 65, 70 kilograms. Yeah, it was within a space of 2 years. And I think, you know, everyone like sort of does 4-6 week programs, and the results that people see are unbelievable. But I think to try and sustain that for a long period of time is even more difficult, because, you know, you go through so many ups and downs. And just as a general, like, I'm not a like one of these guys that competes and stuff like that. It's just really a lifestyle thing for me now. And I think, you know, you go through so many ups and downs, you sort of second guess yourself. Because I mean, my biggest fear right now is to get back to where I was. And that's been for me for a very, very long time.
Getting back to where you were, what was that?
Yeah, so getting back to where I was in terms of being very, very overweight. You know, I did go the complete opposite way. You know, I lost too much weight eventually. But yeah, my biggest fear is that, you know, I think every time I look at a pizza, you know, you sort of second guess yourself at times. You're like, is it necessary? Isn't it? But yeah, I think the amount I train now, you know, I can get away with it now and again.
How is your mindset towards food? Because you said, like, you look at pizza, because obviously you have the negative association with food because of how you felt but then also there's that, you know, there's two sides of the coin. If you have the negative association with food because you're going to put on weight, and you also don't want to, you lost so much weight that you also don't want to lose too much weight. Yeah. So obviously there's a fine balance that you kind of need to work on, and that's obviously the lifestyle that you talk about. Yeah,
I think my relationship with food has definitely got better. I don't think it's by any stretch where it needs to be or where it should be.
To be honest, I don't think anyone has the perfect relationship with food.
Yeah, it's difficult, because, you know, like like generally speaking, if you have like a cheat or 2 cheats a week, you know, if I do have a cheat, you know, the next day I'm sort of ban on where I want to be, ban on diets, making sure that, you know, I'm training hard and that sort of stuff. So yeah, look, my relationship isn't great with food, but like you say, I don't think anyone really gets into that 100%, you know, being sort of flexible, as you like to say.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at all these people, even if you look at the people on social media that look amazing and always look amazing year round, I can tell you right now, their relationship with food isn't healthy, because to look amazing all year round, you have to be kind of being obviously in a calorie deficit, but almost starving yourself.
Yeah, and you know, I must say, when I was losing all the weight, you know, I still think I was clueless in terms of, I knew that I needed to obviously burn more than what I was consuming. And that was the basic for me. But, you know, these days, all I'm trying to do is my mindset's changed a bit. And now I'm trying to sort of look aesthetically better. You know what I mean? In terms of eating according to my goals. So weight training, okay, well, you want to build muscle. What do you need to put in your body? And so, yeah, the mindset has changed a lot over the years, but it's, I think, you know, in terms of flexibility, you're right. If you want to try and, you know, you set yourself a goal at the beginning of the year, within a space of 12 months, if you want to look, you know, decent for that 12 months, you sort of do have an unhealthy relationship with food to an extent, yeah.
And in terms of when you were your heaviest, do you know what your fat percentage was?
Oh, that's a tricky one, because I mean, I went and did that body 20 the other day, and you know, I think the fat percentage came back for me was like 13.9, and I must say, like, if I look back now, I must have been at least, and it sounds ridiculous, but at least 40-50%. But I mean, it was crazy. Yeah. I can't even. I mean, even to this day. So, like, if you look at someone's body and, you know, you would have, if you're in really good shape, you would see someone's six pack. Like, I'm still got like sort of the bottom two is still like that excess skin that I've carried for years, because I mean, those fat cells that you sort of generate during the those 17, 18 years of eating unhealthy, to try and get rid of that is extremely difficult.
And that's the problem. What people think is, you know, when I lose all this weight, I lose all my fat cells, but you don't actually lose those fat cells. They are still there in your body.
Yeah, and it's such a, I think for me, it's almost a reminder of where I was. And so, you know, it's not something that I'm ashamed of. It's just something that you are conscious of. Like, it's just, I think if people have a look at when people lose like 60, 70 kilograms, you'll always have that little excess skin. And I think you just got to get your mindset around it that, well, you know, you're going to get into the best shape, but, you know, you might still carry that for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I once had a lady on that says, you know, calories, she was obviously all about intuitive eating. And but you see, the problem is, the only thing that I disagree with her is she says that you don't need to count calories to lose weight. And she says you just need to feel your body, and if you feel like you need to lose weight, kind of intuitively guess and you will lose weight, which obviously doesn't make sense. Yes, if you do undereat, you will lose weight. Yeah. However, if you look at something and you feel like, oh, I feel like that today, but I still want to lose weight, so psychologically I can trick my body into losing weight, it's not possible. Yeah. So you are obviously someone that, you know, you saw that you need to make a change for your health, for your body, for your mind, for everything. Yeah. You obviously had to look at the amount of food you were eating and reduce that.
Yeah, and I think what I knew back then compared to what I know now, it's massive, because what I know now is obviously a lot more. So I don't think if I compare the diet that I was on back then compared to now, I mean, it's completely the opposite.
But I think the diet that you were on there is probably the right diet for you at the time, because now you're a lot more strict. If you were that strict maybe then, you know, you would have even had maybe another negative association with being more strict, and then you know, not lose the weight.
Yeah, I think, but it was, I mean, looking back then, it was like a fruit salad was lunch, you know what I mean? So, and whereas now it's like, well, where's the protein? Where's the carbs? Where's the fats? So, you know, it was literally all that the focus was on at that stage was just losing weight. And, I think when you start seeing it weeks and months go by and you're like, well, it's working. Well, why change it?
Yeah.
But in terms of what I know now compared to what I knew back then, it's I can't even compare it.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, even that fruit salad, let's say it's a 600 calorie fruit salad, is better than having a 1,200 calorie pizza. Yeah, so at the end of the day, if you look at it in dieting terms, it's not perfect, but it's better.
Yeah, no. I have to agree with you there, you know, and that's why, so like recovery wise and stuff like that, I was just doing a lot of cardio at the time. So, you know, I think compared to now where I'm doing a lot of weight training, your recovery is slightly different. So that's why I think if I was on the same diet now, I don't think I would recover as well as I did back then. I mean, it was hardly any weight training at all. Maybe a super circuit now and again, but that was it. Yeah.
But also, your body was very receptive to change then. So just changing from pizza to a higher sugary fruit salad is better. Whereas now, your body is receptive to less sugar, less carbs, and obviously that's how the body changes. I mean, everybody who maybe was slightly skinnier in school, like when I was super skinny, I was like 70 kilograms. Everyone used to tune me about my legs like it was crazy. I was very skinny. But also that was because, you know, I was on Ritalin, and you know, Ritalin, the side effects don't make you don't eat, you don't have an appetite. So, I mean, I was very skinny. People used to tune me. The moment I started, you know, strictly dieting and watching what I ate, the moment I never dieted, I put on so much weight. You know, I lived my whole life not dieting, super skinny. Obviously, as you age, you know, your metabolism does slow down. But the moment I started dieting, the more weight I would put on if I stopped dieting. And I don't know how you feel about that, because obviously you don't want to go your whole life having to be super, super strict. And that's why you've tried to build this lifestyle around it.
Yeah, and I think, I think even some people close to me would say that, you know, comparing themselves to me is that I'm still very strict. Whereas compared to what I was, I would say I've become so much more balanced. So, you know, every year I sort of set myself a goal, okay, well, 12 months, can you get more balanced? And in what way can you get more balanced? So, you know, I always think about it, you know, and it's not about getting away with certain things in terms of, you know, your eating habits or your training and stuff like that. It's really just about, well, flexibility wise, how much better can you get? And yeah, I mean, I'm like on social media all the time. I'm looking at guys that have been in the industry for so long, and I'm literally, I mean, I think this year alone, I've picked up so many tips and hints on what sort of works, what works for their clients, and sort of like tried it on myself. And, you know, it does work. And I think, yeah, every single year I set myself a goal of, well, how much more balance can you get? And, you know, I'll say compared to 12, 13, or 11, 10 years ago, whatever the case, it was, I mean, I've taken massive strides. So it's always a goal for me at the beginning of the year to see sort of how much better I can get in that sense, and to make it more of a lifestyle thing, yeah.
So obviously you were at the extreme, the unhealthy extreme of being overweight.
Yeah.
I assume you also went to an unhealthy extreme of trying to lose too much weight. And, you know, did you get to what is your lowest fat percentage? Was it at an unhealthy stage?
Yeah, it was significantly unhealthy. I mean, I think my lowest weight, and, you know, I'm 182 or 185 between that, and I was 70 kilograms. And like, sure. If you saw, like I say, my bone density, if you looked at the structure of my body, it's not a 70 kilogram frame. So it was extremely unhealthy. And I think it's so difficult. And when you're in that mindset of losing weight, to try and get out of it, because, and I think the only piece of advice from personal experience that I would give is that if the people around you, your friends, your family, are saying you're in good condition, you're looking good, take that on board. Because I sort of let it slide and just, you know, carried on in my way, and I think it was just a scare factor. I'm quite I'll say stubborn person, but also very committed to a certain goal. So, you know, I was so committed to losing the weight, and that, you know, I would just look back at pictures and be like, well, I can't let myself get back to that. And, you know, I would hardly eat, because I was so scared of that. And my cardio would still be up there. I would still be training every day. I would still be pushing my body to certain limits. And I must say, if I look back now and I compare myself, like body fat percentage wise, it was single digits for sure. And, but it was an unhealthy look. You know, I looked unhealthy, and, I think the best thing that ever happened for me was, just listening to someone one day that said, you know, you've done so much good. Why go the opposite way? And, you know, the moment I heard that, it took a while, because I needed to sort of get my frame of mind back in and be like, okay, well, what can you do? Because also you need to research what you need to do. And so, you know, finding the weight section in the gym was probably the best thing that I ever did. You know, it's probably been 5-6 years in the weight section where literally every time I go there, it's like a smile. You know, it's amazing. So, you know, trying to overcome that poor eating was difficult. It's not an easy thing, and it takes time. I just think you got to have quite a strong mind, and you got to be like dedicated to what you want to do and what you want to achieve at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that six-week transformation challenge that I had with the PS5, you know, that giveaway. I mean, that guy that won, he was 180 and he went down to 150 in that 6 weeks. Yeah. And he didn't exercise at all. It was obviously he did a little bit like in his garden and stuff, but he didn't go to a gym. He didn't actively, you know, try outwork, you know, his previous bad diet and everything. He just dieted. Yeah. And it was because, you know, he would be playing, I mean, 180 kilograms, if you jump, you know, the amount of strain and stress that you put on your joints. And that's why he made that change. He made that change because he said, I want to be able to move. I want to be able to throw a frisbee with my friends. You know, that was his motivation. What was your motivation initially? Like, what was that turning point?
So two things happened. I think the first thing at the end of my matric year, we went on a family holiday, and, you know, when you come back, you know, I think these days you put all your photos on social media, whereas in those days, say 13 years ago, but I mean, you would develop photos, put them in an album, and you would sort of like go through them. And I just remember there was one photo that stuck in my mind, and it still sticks in my mind today, because I still have it at my parents' house. And that photo, I just was like, say shameful, but I was just disappointed. And then the other thing that happened, which was sort of weird in a sense, is that so all those documentaries that they do on gastric bypasses and people shrinking their stomachs, whatever the case. I was watching that one day, and it was a whole series, like a week-long series, and I got quite attached to the one guy that was there. But, you know, unfortunately, he had reached a stage where he was so overweight that he actually couldn't go through the process. And as soon as I saw that, I said, well, if I carry the way I'm going on, that will be me. And it literally was the next day that I said, okay, let's get this going. And I signed up at the gym that was just down the road from me, a small gym. And I started dieting. And, you know, I was so focused on achieving that goal, and I could see every week, every month there was progress, and it was amazing. I must say it was. But those were it was that, and obviously the fact that when I stepped on that scale that day for probably the first time in 10 years, it was a massive eye opener for me. So I'm just so grateful that I actually experienced those things, because I don't know where I would be today if I didn't.
You see, a lot of people have negative associations with the scale, because obviously, you know, let's say you're a first-time gymmer, you start training, you're losing body fat. Obviously, your body is responding quick because it's the first time you train and you're building some muscle. Then you look at the scale like, I'm not losing weight. Yeah. For you, obviously, initially, the scale was the biggest, you know, motivating factor, and also obviously the way you looked. Yeah. And obviously, it just keeps going. It just adds, you know, impetus into your journey when other people tell you and you start looking better and you start feeling better, and, you know, just adds so much confidence to your life.
Yeah, and also that's changed completely as well. I mean, now I would say, okay, of late, recently I just wanted to do a bit of a cut. So maybe the scales, I started looking at a bit more regularly. But I think last year I probably looked at the scale maybe after 6-7 months. So it's not something that's now top of mind. But back then it was that, and it was, I was taking double X, triple XL, and to see me going to a shop and like getting a large or getting an extra large was like it was a massive thing for me. And but back then, definitely, I mean, the scale was paramount to me. But having said that, nowadays, I mean, you're right. You can add weight, but you can physically look better because you're adding muscle. Yeah. I think it's definitely changed. And obviously, depending on what people's goals are at the end of the day, they want to lose the weight. Well, then they want to lose weight and fit into a certain outfit or whatever the case. But I mean, if you're building muscle, you're going to be putting on weight, but aesthetically, you're going to look better. But the mindset's completely different depending on what you were going through or what I was going through at the time.
When you first started, you know, obviously everyone has people they look up to. Who were the people that, obviously, you know, social media wasn't as big 10 years ago, but obviously then, let's say when, you know, the early 2000s and, you know, going towards 2010, like when social media came out, who were those people that you're looking at? Was it people that maybe were going through a similar journey as you, or was it people that, you know, almost already were fit and, you know, were living that lifestyle?
Yeah, it's actually quite a difficult question to answer because, you know, back then social media, I didn't think I had Instagram at that stage. So to try and follow someone in particular, although that's changed now, is very, very difficult to answer. But I think the people that did motivate me are just generally your ordinary bodybuilders now. I mean, the guys that a lot of people speak about of the 90s that did well, Jay Cutler. Or I think the thing I learned from them was just hard work. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily the fact that I wanted to look like them. It was the fact that I could see that the hard work that they put in at the end of the day was getting results. And I started. I mean, initially my process was that, quite honestly, I didn't really have a role model to look up to in that sense. But
was it maybe like people you saw in the movies? Like, I think back then, maybe when I was younger, I looked at, you know, this actor or whatever, and this like superhero, I'm like, yo, that guy looks cool. Like, I want to be like that guy.
I think my motivation was slightly different. It wasn't a specific person. It was that when you're growing up in high school and stuff, and you significantly overweight, a girl literally won't look your way. So for me, it was literally trying to lose weight to say, okay, well, you know, if you lose weight and you look half decent, well, yeah, someone might look your way. So it was a slightly different thing, and so not someone specifically, although like I say, right now, I mean, there's fitness guys that I look up to and follow constantly to sort of challenge myself in terms of the weight training side of things now. Yeah.
And how, because obviously times have changed a lot where, you know, like body shaming, you're not allowed to body shame, you're not allowed to do any of that. And obviously you're someone that has lived on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, people that are very, very focused on losing weight, your mindset, I would just say those people close to you, just keep them close to you, and try and still, you know, enjoy your weekends, still keep those friends and family close. Because I must say, when I went through the process on my end, you know, I lost a lot of friends along the way, because, you know, you would not go out, you'll not want to go to bars because the temptation was there. So, yeah, no, in terms of body shaming and stuff like that, you know, I think everyone goes through a certain, and so I would, you know, I would never look down on someone that's going through that sort of period, because I'm telling you now, it's so tough to get out of it. People that have an unhealthy relationship with food and are getting sick after they eat and all that sort of stuff, you know, I never look down on those people, because, you know, I've been there. Okay, I wasn't getting sick, but I mean, I've been there in the sense that I was hardly eating anything. And even people that are overweight, I look at them at gym and I'm just so proud of them, because, you know, I see myself in a lot of them. And just taking, I think, that initial step into the gym just shows me that they know that they want to be better. And, you know, at the end of the day, if they just there to keep healthy and to lose 1 or 2 kilograms, you know, well, you know, good for them. So I've looked at people in the gym and I've always never looked down on them, because I think at the end of the day, they just, doesn't matter how good you look in a gym, everyone's there for a reason. And, you know, their reason might be slightly different to the next guy next to them, and they might not have the experience, but, you know, they're just there, and they're just there to add value to themselves at the end of the day.
The people that see something that, you know, they might see, okay, I'm unhealthy, you know, carrying this extra weight is putting strain on my bones, it's putting, like, I can't even walk up the stairs without having to, you know, try to recover after literally walking upstairs. Like, that is seen obviously as unhealthy, and, you know, there does need to be a change. And those people at the gym, good for them for making a change, and, you know, being conscious about their body. And, you know, it's the same, you come to a point where you kind of have to realize that you do need to be healthier. And I'm not saying go and do a bodybuilding competition. I'm saying, you know, even have fast food 3 times a week instead of 7 times a week. Yeah. And I think no one can shame anyone, no matter how big they are, if they are willing to make a change. Yeah. But I think there's certain people, and now currently, where people are trying to force you to find someone who's unhealthy attractive. Yeah. Whereas they will be the same people that say, you know, don't tell me what I can find attractive. Let me find anyone attractive, which is fair. Find anyone attractive. And, you know, different strokes for different oaks. What you like, what I like could be completely different. Yeah. But the fact that now people are forcing other people to find obesity as healthy. Yes, it can be called attractive, because some people might find, you know, different weight classes attractive, but it can't be healthy. The same way bodybuilding isn't healthy. Obesity, being super lean, isn't healthy. So you can't, you know, other side of the spectrum isn't healthy. And that's the way society is now. It's kind of forcing people to accept overweight people, you know, and if we do that, then we need to accept unhealthy people. Like, no one really accepts anorexia, but people are accepting obesity. Whereas, you know, if you got clinical issues and you can't lose weight and your hormones are imbalanced or whatever, obviously that's understandable and you need to work with a doctor. Yeah. But those people that think that, you know, it's fine for me to sit on the couch and put all the strain on my kidneys, my heart, my livers, my internal organs, and, you know, I think it's just as selfish because you got family members. Yeah. So it's just as selfish for, you know, people that are excessive drinkers. Yeah. You know, it's decisions in life that we need to obviously look at the people around us, because those are the people that obviously affected the most. And obviously, I mean, you at that stage are also affecting your family, and I'm sure they obviously are immensely proud of the changes that you've made.
No, I think you know, when you're growing up and when you see your dad or your mom disappointed, whatever you do in life, I think it's so difficult to take. They don't even have to say anything. But yeah, they both my parents are extremely proud of me, and they were extremely supportive of me as well. So, you know, without them, you know, and also without my brother along the way, I don't know, you know, if I would have been able to get through what I went through. You know, it's extremely tough, but you just got to sort of, once you have that goal in mind, you know, surround yourself with the right people, and ask for their advice at times as well, even though you're so focused on your goal. You know, at the end of the day, they're the ones that know you the best. And, you know, like I say, when I mentioned earlier today, when they tell you look good, you're going to look half decent. I'm not saying that that's their end goal, but, you know, they know where you were. And so, you know, just take their advice at times and just be like, well, you know, you look half decent. Well, how do I get in shape without compromising my lifestyle? And, you know, just focus on that goal 110%, and you'll definitely get to where you want to be.
And, you know, as you say, compromising your lifestyle, you don't want to have to compromise your lifestyle. You don't want to have to, you know, and that's the biggest thing. And that's also why, you know, there's aspects of competing that I completely hate, and for myself, because there'll be times where, you know, at a braai, and it makes you upset, it makes you grumpy, being like, I can't even have that steak because I have to have chicken breast. You know, I can't have the basting on that chicken because I need plain chicken breast. Like, the negative mindset that it puts you in. I mean, I've been in so many countless situations where it's been close to competition, where I've looked at food and I just really want it, and it makes me grumpy, it makes me upset, and it makes me take it on other people, and that is also negative, and that is just as unhealthy as being overweight.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I mean, there was stages that I wouldn't even eat the skin of a chicken. I mean, I'm not saying that the skin of chicken is healthy, but I'm just saying, like, to have a roast chicken once in a while, it's not going to kill you. So, you know, trying to, you know, go into braais and stuff. And that's probably, if I say I have one regret, it was the regret that, you know, I said no a lot. I said no a lot to a lot of braais, and not even going to the braais and saying no at the braai in terms of food choices and that sort of stuff. I was more comfortable staying at home and keeping myself away from temptation than actually going out there. So, you know, that's also, it is unhealthy. And, you know, when you go through those transformations and stuff like that, you've got to sort of try and tell your mind to, you know, have that balance. And, you know, but balance, I say you work on it all the time. You know, I'm still working on it to this day. You know, there's a lot of people or a lot of friends of mine that will say, Cheapers, you're not balanced. But, you know, from where I was compared to where I am now, that's why I always, when you're in a gym and stuff like that, just focus on yourself at the end of the day. I mean,
say your friends and stuff say you're not balanced. Is that because they're saying you're too extreme now?
Yeah, so they still, I mean, I think, you know, so if I go to a restaurant, generally speaking, I'll be, if there's a crowd of 10 of us, I'll probably be the guy that eats the healthiest thing.
Yeah. Which is weird because people judge you more for being healthy and making a healthier choice than
being the unhealthy one. Yeah. So, it's funny when you see that. But yeah, I think it's just maybe it's just who I am, and you know, I just also, you know, if I'm going to train, the amount that I do train, you know, I want to put stuff in my body that's going to benefit that, and you know, but having said that, I still need a bit more balance in that, you know, have a pizza now and again, have sushi now and again. It's not going to be the end of the world. You know, you've got to have, just for your mind. I think I see a lot of people on social media and they do all these crazy refeeds, or they do these crazy cheat meals. And the reason they do it is simply because during the week they've been so good that, you know, they need it for not only to spark their metabolism, but also for a mind. You know, if they don't have that, if a lot of people that don't have that cheat in the week, they wouldn't be able to train. They just, because they got nothing to look forward to at the end of the day.
And obviously we talk about extremes, but like, let's say a competition, if you want to do a competition, you want to look amazing, you have to push yourself to that extreme, and that extreme can be unhealthy for sure. However, I feel obviously for you now, because you've continued to lose weight and continue to, focus on your health, you would rather be ridiculed and judged for being healthy than ridiculed and judged for not being able to walk up a flight of stairs.
100%. Because I've been there. So, it's funny though, because even in school and stuff, I was well liked. The boys and stuff, they would hardly ever ridicule me about my weight. So I was fortunate in that sense. I was well liked by the guys, and I had various nicknames. Did
you play sports?
Yeah, I played. And
you see, usually it's the people that are good at sports, but it's because you were still doing something and you were overweight. Where it's the people that have completely given up. Those are most of the time that the people judge. It's the people that do absolutely nothing and are overweight that people be like, come on, just do something.
Yeah, and, we had good camaraderie. I mean, I remember one day, you'd have that athletics day, and I was 100% the slowest in the grade. And it was funny because, you have to take it quite seriously because it's inter-house and stuff like that. But our house decided before the race that they were going to let me win. And we did the 100-meter sprint, and I won. And we obviously had to redo it afterwards because the head of our house wasn't too impressed. But it was that sort of camaraderie that we had. And when the boys at school see me now, I think majority of them are super proud of me. So and we still had that good relationship and good rapport. So. But I'm extremely grateful that I had that, and I agree with you. I think it's maybe the sport factor that you're in a team, you're all going for a certain goal at the end of the day. So whether you're overweight or skinny, it doesn't really matter. I'm extremely competitive. So as long as we win at the end of the day, well, that was fine. I think people that are obviously low in confidence and, are extremely overweight and don't play sport, they'll probably find it more difficult.
Your advice for people like that?
I would think, you use the word brave. You got to be brave. You got to put yourself out there. I think even, I always just say, you got to try and live your life with no regrets. You get one opportunity. So, get out there and, go join a indoor soccer club, or go join a gym. Go get trained by someone, because chances are that they'll put you in a group anyway. And, you'll get to know people, and I think your weight, it affects your confidence. So when you don't have confidence, it makes you crawl up in your skin half the time. So I would just say, go play sport, go be active. Even if it's with friends and family, just go do it, because it's going to get you out there and it's going to give you more confidence, and then it will give you more confidence in the gym. It'll give you more confidence in achieving your goals at the end of the day and eating and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to go a long, long way.
Well, the amazing thing with fat loss is, let's say you start at 45%, your body fat's 45%, you now go down to 40%. You have got so much more confidence just having that 5%.
Yeah.
But other people looking at you, they can't really see the 5%. So you look the same to them, but you have the confidence. And because you have the confidence, you look better in their eyes, because obviously communities are driven by confidence.
Yeah.
And people, people with energy, people with confidence, people with, that just have this energy flowing out of them, people like more and people gravitate towards them. It doesn't matter if they're fat, skinny, whatever, with that confidence. That's what's nice about health in general, is just being healthy promotes confidence in your mind and getting your mind on the right track. It doesn't matter actually how you look, but the more confident you are, the better you're going to do in life, in situations, in business, and in everything.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, when I see I'm in the gym constantly, and I see people that are overweight, and when they have a little bit of confidence, it's so much better. Because I can see, I would say during the time of losing weight, if my mindset was in a negative or low confidence sort of state, I would never have achieved what I achieved, because I think it works hand in hand. I used to see on a weekly basis, if my mindset wasn't right, you wouldn't lose weight. And it's funny how it works like that, because people would say, well, as long as you sort of feeding your body correctly, you're going to lose weight. I sort of disagree with that in a sense, because if your mindset isn't positive, if your mindset doesn't have that confidence to achieve those goals, I don't think you're going to. And yeah, I think it's an amazing thing to see. I must say, like I've been to numerous gyms, and it's just great to see people, overweight people, skinny people, any type of people walking into the gym and just getting that bit of confidence, because it's great to see, and because then they start achieving their goals so much more quicker. And they do it with a smile on their face, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the mindset thing, I agree with you, because if your mindset isn't right, you're not going to train as hard, so you're not going to burn as many calories. If your mindset isn't right, you're going to be like, oh, it doesn't matter if I have this little bit of extra food. So then obviously you're being more lenient when you are less dedicated and your mind is, less set on a goal.
Yeah.
The more set you on a goal, the more, honed in on a particular thing that you want to achieve, the more strict you're going to be and the more disciplined, and, the quicker and easier it is going to be to achieve it. Because if you're constantly thinking, oh, I hate having to eat healthy, you're not going to want to eat healthy.
Yeah.
But if your mindset is set on being healthy and making positive changes, it's going to make that end goal so much easier.
Yeah, no, it's 100% agree with you. You need to, it works hand in hand. If you're not going to wake up in the morning with a positive frame of mind to go and train, to eat healthy, to make good choices, well, at the end of the day, you're going to let yourself down. It's not about letting anyone else down. You're going to let yourself down at the end of the day.
You need to do it for you. You don't do it for anyone else.
No, and I think, initially, I had that first goal of being, I wanted to do it, to maybe get a second look. But having said that, it was always about doing it to do it for myself. You've got to sort of reassess where you are and sort of say, okay, I want to do this for me alone, and how do I achieve it at the end of the day?
Bro, thank you so much for coming on.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very, very much for having me.
And guys, thanks. You can check Justin's social medias below, and thanks for listening.